Welcome to The Difference. Today, Anthony, we have one of your friends and one of my new friends, Nate Brock, who's coming and bringing to us this incredible diversity of skills, including his music and guitar. Stay tuned.
You are listening to The Difference, a presentation from The Hour, a 54-year ministry. Steve, first we started on radio, then went to television, then we went streaming online. So at Our Stream, you can watch our programming from all those years. So it's at thehour.org. And now, here we are.
Welcome back. You know, Anthony, one of the great gifts you have of being here at the Institute for Southern Storytelling is the students you get to meet. And they are so multi-talented. And so today, Nate Brock is going to come and share with us, talk a little bit about your meeting him and how y'all came together.
Well, it's funny because when I first met Nate, I was teaching a watercolor class at night at MC, and I had this little kid run up, and he's a little freshman, and he wanted to meet me, and he said, my girlfriend is in your watercolor class, his girlfriend at the time, and she told me I need to be in this class, that I would like it, and can I get in your class? And we had already been going a week or two, I guess. So I said, that'll be fine, the more the merrier. And I think he might have been one of the only boys in the class, but they sat together and would paint and giggle and all of this. But it was a really cool semester because Nate is not only a musician, not only a songwriter, he's also a visual artist, and he does animation, he does drawings and paintings, and so just multi-talented. And it was a joy to have him in class. And that class we did kind of a survey of different watercolor styles and different artists. So one week we would study Walter Anderson and do something kind of in that homage to him. We would study Robin Whitfield, or we would study Winslow Homer, or whomever, and go in those directions, or Andrew Wyeth. And watching Nate tackle each of those styles and techniques was a fun thing to watch, and we just really had a good class. And one night I had him bring in his guitar and sing to the class and play, and we just had a great time. And then I couldn't get him to stop, and it was just no. And we had a lot of fun. And Bryant and I were my son, we were working on the music for our Eudora documentary, and we needed somebody to do some Delta blues kinds of things. And I said, Nate, are you interested in? So I got on the piano, he got on the guitar, and some of the soundtrack for the Eudora documentary, Nate helped provide. And not bad for a freshman in college to be on the soundtrack of a film. So that was a lot of fun. But we just really got to know Nate. He helped do the sound on our short film with Michael Ferris Smith, and always willing to come in and do some things. And we'll talk about another special project they did in just a little bit, but let's go on and introduce Nate.
Nate, we're so glad you're joining us today. One of the treats I get for being a part of this podcast is to meet all of Anthony's 10 talent friends who can't just do one thing. They're like him. They flock to him because they can do everything. And I can remember when he first started talking about you, when they were working on the Eudora Welty soundtrack, and then later on the short film. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I certainly can do a few things. I cannot do math. Yeah, I have really enjoyed my time here at MC because of the Institute. I'm from Mississippi, grew up here my whole life. My mom is from Ohio. And so in my home, I had two very different cultures always talking to each other. And I think growing up, I just thought the world was like amazing. I
Mhm.
thought it was just colorful and kind of mysterious, and so I think I got drawn into fiction a lot through that, and then through that into storytelling. Um, and I think, I mean, as long as I can remember, I've just been drawing, and so I always wanted to live in that world. I wanted to contribute to it. I feel like spiritually I benefited so much from it. And so to come to MC and I mean, I've either always been in business or communications. That's kind of been my major. But to find, I really think of it as an island of the arts
Mhm.
and film in this area of Mississippi. To really just see the Lord like guide me to that, I think has just been one of the biggest blessings of my life. And, you know, I love working with Anthony. I love working with all the other students.
So, Nate, I'm thinking about all the adventures you've had with the Institute. Nothing like starting off with being a part of an Emmy Award winning kind of documentary. So, talk a little bit about that process that you got drawn into and what it was like.
Yeah, you really don't think you'll start a music career with that, right? um, well, first off, I was really grateful with how um, inviting the Thaxtons were and the environment to work in. Um, you think of doing a big film. At least I did as a very like high pressure thing, and really what I've found is just to with how good I think I am at a guitar, which is I don't think I'm very good. I was very grateful they were inviting me to take a chance on me and doing that. I think the biggest takeaway I had from it was the introduction to the blues. That's really where that started for me. And I think learning about Eudora Welty.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about her before. Um, and I think doing that film then gave me a reason to go watch the film. And I think watching it, I really grew really proud of my state
Yeah.
to be from the same state as her.
And to watch, I didn't know how musical she was, just
Yeah.
what a Renaissance person
Yeah.
she really was. And what I like about your story is Anthony is a wizard at helping people be themselves without trying to be somebody else, to take your gifts, to authentically put them out there. And I think that's probably why he wins the Emmys, that every part of it is natural, is just authentic.
It felt incredibly natural. And I mean, the way we did it was we came in here and he was on keyboard and we just started jamming. And that's really, I had sat down and tried to come up with some licks that I planned. But I mean, I think one of the songs in there was just came out of us just jamming and having fun and just turned into a full fledged thing on the spot. And yeah, so I think natural is a very good word
And
for
a
I
it.
mean,
lot of that made it into the
It
film
did.
more than you thought, right?
Yeah, way more than I thought,
Yeah.
which I was very surprised to see.
well, we had just had 2 episodes talking about creativity. And that's the other thing that he's the catalyst for,
Yes.
is just letting people freely kind of play, speak, draw, paint things into reality out of their imagination.
I think he does a wonderful job creating the environment for you to go do that in.
Mhm.
Well, one of the things that I talked about, with when we were talking about my background and all was Dr. Gore and other people giving me permission to be Anthony, giving me permission to you don't have to choose between art and film or writing or do what you want to do and let's figure out how to help you be who you want to be. And when I look at you, right now you're in the middle, Nate, of a field study with us where you're doing animation, you're exploring and we're just in a way giving you permission to try some things, but you're getting class credit for that. But again, just recognizing or saying, well, let me go to bat with one of your professors and say there's a value in what he's wanting to do here, and we're going to have an end result, an end product. So let's get there. Now we got some work we need to do on that. So, but you, without that permission, without creating an environment where that can happen. I was the son of a football coach, and he didn't know. My dad didn't know what to do with me, so I wound up painting some things in his field house. I wound up filming his games. I wound up using my skills to connect with him, even though he didn't know how to handle this musician, this singer, this writer, this artist, and I think again that just makes me want to give permission to young people like you that yes, you want to try these things. Well, you can't do everything, but you can try these things, and at least then, like in watercolor class, we're trying on styles, and then we can have a informed decision about what direction we want to take. So that's where I see you now is you don't have to know all the way where you're going to be, but you're experimenting. And one of the things that you did, you guys have formed a band at MC called the Broken Halos. You've got because all four of you are MC students, right?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, tell us about the band, and you do Christian songs. And so tell us about the band, and you're the front man for that, the songwriter. But tell us about Micah and the other guys.
Yeah. I'll start with the bandmates, and then I'll go into the band itself as a project. So we, what you're saying about giving opportunities for people to be themselves. I mean, I think this band project has been one of the ways you've really validated me as just like a person where you see people in media and you think, okay, they're a musician. That's who they are. That's what they do. That's what their whole life's about. They're an artist. That's what they are. That's what they do. And I think getting to see you can do a lot of different things, and that's not the core of your identity either. But anyway, so Anthony gave me a really huge opportunity we got to perform in here, and gave me free reign to put a set list together, do a live album, which again, as just what was I, a sophomore? I don't remember, a sophomore. You don't think that's going to happen, And so it was really the first time I got to say, what do I want to do as like a showman, kind of like as a performer and as walking the audience through this thing. But I knew I needed bandmates for that. And so Micah and I met, I really like our friendship because I met him at RUF Worship here on campus. And as soon as I met him, I was like, I want you to be part of my project. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want you to be part of it.
Was he even playing bass then?
No, he was the RUF Worship leader.
Okay.
So I think we have a really cool dynamic where I started playing with him under him, and now he plays with me. But we have this very like mutual musician respect, I think. And so eventually I was like, look, I need a bassist. Can you come? You want to come learn bass for this project? And I showed him some of my songs that aren't out yet, and he was like, yes. And
picked up the bass immediately, and is a great bassist, and just a wonderful kid, and also a talented graphic designer.
He
so
designed this.
I
is
actually
really
have
his
the album right
Yeah.
here. So this
Yeah.
they actually did on vinyl, and Micah did all of the graphic design work for the album. It's really well done. Really pleased with that. You can find this. It's the Broken Halos, and we'll provide the information on that. But so Micah does that.
Yes.
And I want you to continue talking about the band members, but also on the wall, on the LED wall in our studio, you did animations that were playing in the background because we recorded video elements, multi-camera video shoot as well. So not only the live album, but you have live videos with these, with your animations on the wall behind there. And we had a studio audience, a small audience with family and friends in our studio, and just recorded a great album, Worship at Midnight. like bossa nova, all these songs, that you did in here. The Fireman, I think, is probably my favorite. But anyway, so continue telling about the students. But I wanted to plug your
Well,
album.
and I should give Micah a lot of credit here. I was working on this album, not this album, another album I've been working on all year. We're almost done with it, and I was like, "Look, man, we have this live album we need to mix. I'm in the middle of this other project." And so he really took up the reins here, and he spent 22 hours mixing this album in his car in the summer in Memphis. So he's
There's a song in itself.
right. And
That might be a country song,
That might-
yeah,
but
yeah. So that's pretty incredible. And he put all the graphics together. And so, we really found a partnership where I can bring him the art, the song compositions, the rough mixes, and he's so much more technical than I am, and he's able to fine tune so many things I don't catch. And so that's been a really cool way to meet a friend.
Yeah.
And he's like you in a lot of ways where he does so many different things too. I can't even list them all.
and just such a
JT,
good guy too.
he is
Yeah.
such a good guy,
Yeah.
like you.
Well, but
And,
the other part of that is creatives attract each other. There's kind of this symbiosis that goes on when you are given the ability and full latitude to come at something with your best and your gifts, then something spiritual happens in that.
it really is its own kind of dynamic.
Hmm.
And I think prior to meeting you, I didn't have anyone I shared that with in my life. And that was a really weird experience. And so
But now look at what you guys have done, and is blossoming, and you're bringing more and more people together on doing things. And I introduced you to another student who's interested in anime and doing
Yeah.
animation. So I put the two of you together at a recent event, and then I just put y'all together, and then I'm doing other things and doing the event, and the rest of the time they're over there talking. Creatives finding each other, and that's a great thing. But you've brought other band members along as well.
we have, and we've even brought people that we worked at the induction to the Hall of Fame at the Max together. I mean, Elizabeth Kessel, we've worked with her on stuff.
Right.
Um, and
She shot some video for you
she
guys.
she's directing a music video for us.
Cool.
I think
Elizabeth's great, by
oh
the
my
way.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the idea of like let this person do what they're really good at.
Hmm.
That's how I've really, thanks to you, been inspired to explore making music with other people and making videos with other people, and they'll do just amazing things. Which brings me to my drummer, JT. I always say his last name wrong, so I'm sorry, JT. It's McNamee or McNamee. I cannot remember, and I'm sorry, because I'll just call him JT. And he is, I mean, he played for Clinton Attaché,
Yeah.
their
yeah.
show choir program. He played here, and he is now helping direct the drum line as like a job in Flowood,
Mm.
one of their schools. And I my approach to songwriting, it usually starts on the guitar, but I always have heard these songs with really just the drums are so important. It's like if we take folk music and we take hip hop and we take rock and we take other things, which are not all necessarily on this album, but on other things, and combine them, like what do we get? And so the drums are huge for that. And he is, I mean, just I think the most talented musician in the band. If you've ever seen him play, I mean, even on this one, if you hear some of the stuff he does, it's like, it's amazing. And we did this with no click track.
Wow.
This is really our first time really all playing together. We rehearsed a lot, but
Right.
he's incredible. And so we've been working on another project all year and having him record his drums. And, the approach is really just like, what do you think fits the song? Okay, let's try that out. Okay, let's do another take. Maybe try this or this. And so to collaborate in musician language with a really, really highly trained musician is an incredible, really incredible thing. And then Miana, we met. I have a gluten allergy. We met over a summer camp, and she was on the worship team and also in the kitchen. And so I would just constantly bug her, hey, I need my food. I've got 12 kids in the cabin. They're going ballistic. I've got to eat. I've got to go work a ropes course. Like, please, I need my chicken nuggets without, with the cauliflower. And never got them. But we became friends anyway, in spite of my starvation. And she plays violin. She's from South Africa. And I think having a cross-cultural friendship has really inspired me in a lot of ways of, can we bring those elements into a song? Like, can we bring that, just like that, such different culture into what we're doing here? And I think on our next project you'll really hear that. But on this, she does wonderful violin.
Which is great about in any college experience. But at MC, we do have people from around the world, and it excited me to see that she was a part of what you had put together, because it adds an element and classes it up a little bit, Steve, and they needed that.
It does. We're just three guys who can like.
That's the only reason I'm on the
maybe.
podcast is window dressing. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you also play harmonica. You do keys too, don't you? So it's that kind of thing of again, going back to Micah with just, hey, can you learn bass so that you can be on this album and part of this project? That not everybody can do that,
No.
and that is those kinds of stories are what excite me, and the fact that that you guys titled your album "Live at the Institute for Southern Storytelling," and that was just a proud thing for me, and again, storytelling takes so many forms, and I think your biggest strength, like your music and your playing and all of that, but I think your biggest strength is songwriting. And I'd like you to speak on that a bit, because not everybody can write songs. So all of these are original songs that you wrote. Tell us about storytelling through song, and where does that come from for you?
I think as a kid, I was just very uncomfortable a lot. Just a variety of different situations. I had some learning disabilities, and sometimes that played into like trying to keep up with like a social cue or something like that. And I was also homeschooled, so I had this big like fear of
Now that was obvious.
yeah, you can't tell.
I'm just kidding.
Of just like, oh man, do I know what's going on in the world? Can I keep up with everyone else?
Right.
And what happened was all of these different people from different circles of my life started just introducing me to different music. And I found that to be like a way you could really connect with people. There was some unity in, we like the same music. Okay, we can talk now. But also, when you're overwhelmed by some fears and stuff like that, it was a place to go to without leaving.
Nice.
And
yeah.
that can turn unhealthy, but for a while that really helped me out a lot. And just to go in my headphones and like hear the stories of other people's lives and be like, man, this is how I feel in my life right now. And with that, I think spiritually, music has been incredibly important to me. And it's one reason I write songs. I wouldn't be a Christian without a couple of artists who I was able to connect with in that way, but who were also able to meet me there, and they were believers, and so they could walk with me through some of the darker stuff. I could meet with them there, but then they could also take me back to the gospel, and I needed that. And I remember there was a point where I would have walked away from my faith had I not. And then I saw this documentary of this musician who's a Christian, and I was just like, okay, I'm staying with it. Like, that's, can you be a Christian and an artist? I don't know. You know, I didn't know that. I thought you
Yeah.
couldn't because every artist I saw was living this kind of lifestyle,
Right.
and every Christian I saw had really nothing to do with the arts at all.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that was very hard for me. And so to see artists who were walking with the Lord and creating good art, I'm not talking about like, the very corporate kind
Right.
of stuff.
Right.
I really needed that. And I really needed people and artists who could say the really gritty things about life and go with me back to the truth. And so that's for me where songwriting comes in. There's hymns, praises, spiritual songs, and I feel like I really want to help fill the gap of spiritual songs. Um, I the older I'm getting, and I'm only 21, the more I'm thinking about. I think spiritual warfare is really real, and I really want to illustrate. I want to validate people who are going through that, because if you don't think it's real,
Mm.
if you don't like seeing an artist, seeing art, it validates what you're going through.
As you're talking, we had the conversation. We have it all the time. I love the creation story because for me, it's kind of the cornerstone of who we are, created in God's image, and the idea of the Creator
Mm-hmm.
who spoke us into being, who with imagination
Yeah.
finished, and like an artist, like, oh, this is good. Oh, I like this. And then at the end, the only place he says it's not good is when it's not good that you should be alone, which kind of says this whole creative purpose is for the building of community, for the knitting us together into the kingdom. And when you use your art and have been formed and shaped by the art of others because they bring voice to the things that you need to hear. It's just such a beautiful continuation of that creative process.
And I think with music, you have a very special opportunity with that, where I'm sitting here listening to these songs as I'm struggling with different things, but then I go see this person in concert, and I'm with other people who have gone through stuff. And you have reasons you listen to the music you do. And so there's a lot of commonality there. And especially if it's pointing back to God, I think you just get this hope of like, we're all in this together. This is alive in person. And I started writing songs in COVID where I couldn't be around anybody. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that we as Mississippi actually need to be invested in for young people is getting them out into a live music space, and whether that's worship or just like good music,
Right.
getting them in person experiences, like where it's tangible, it's real.
And you guys have done that. I mean, you do home concerts. You've done concerts here on campus,
Yeah.
In the courtyard area and things. So,
Well, and even with this, right? Like,
right, this album. Look, we want you to come back next week and let's continue this conversation. But I would like to share with the folks as an ending for this program. We're talking about the difference, and we hear a lot about young people and negative things and the struggle. It is refreshing having a conversation, talking with seeing this group of young people come together, trying to do something positive. So I commend you. I'm proud of you, Nate. I'm so proud that you're associated with what we're doing, and I think you're a good representative of MC. And also, I want to share with the folks, and we're going to play one of your songs on the way out here from one of your videos. And so, Nate, what one should we leave them with? Just take your time, because we're
Hint, hint.
We're
He
not
said
running out or anything.
he said his favorite was the Fireman. So
we could do the Fireman.
you want to do that one?
I like the Fireman.
All right. So we're gonna do that. So thank you for joining us today. The difference, Steve. This is the kind of thing we're talking about.
Exactly. It's the same kind of creative energy we've been talking about. Is we want to put this in people's ears, in their eyes, to say, hey, where do you engage this? Where can you find your life and joy? Because for us, this is life. This is what God intended it to be. Is these kind of relationships, these kind of expressions of creativity. It's more important than a lot of things that we invest our time in and our energy in. So
And you can find their music on Spotify, all the
Everything.
platforms, all the platforms. So join us next week. We're going to continue this conversation with Nate Brock and the Broken Halos. Let's listen.
and as always, hey, remember, live loved.
You ran away that night. We couldn't see you through the heat. You chased a fire so bright. Did it give you all you needed? Did you even feel the heat or the cold biting at your bones? And a fire trucks, flashing lights you saw. Now the fire will take it all. Down the street, you began to glow. Join the embers on furlough. Like a moth drawn to a flame, you flew to your demise. Well, she called your name. Did you even feel the heat or the cold biting at your bones? And the fire trucks, flashing lights you saw. Now the fire will take it all. And it's cold and it burns. The thoughts you burned of her making their return. And it takes all you give. And it ain't a way to stay, but it is the way you live. Do you even feel the heat or the cold biting at your bones? And the fire trucks, flashing lights you saw. How the fire will take it